Hey everyone, GamerJlee here, and it's that time once again for the monthly Q&A. I know that I'm a little bit late, and that's due to the fact that I've kind of been the past couple of days dealing with a lot of crazy antics. This week has been pretty hectic. I had a big old hangout night on Saturday where I hung out with a number of my friends, and my friends got pretty fucked up on some Fireball. Not gonna lie, it was a good time. I didn't drink. You guys know that about me. I'm straight edge. I don't smoke, drink, or anything. But I wanted to give my friends a good time. They had a good time, and I had to clean up the mess the next morning. But that's beyond the point. Let's talk about your guys' questions so I can give you guys some answers, because I do this series because you guys want it. Our first question from YouTube comes from Heroic Spartan, and he asks, what elements or details would you like to see in Halo Infinite? And this is a very unique question because it's not asking me exactly what I want to see in Halo Infinite, but what kind of elements or details would you like to see? Well, honestly, one thing I would love to see whenever it comes to details, or elements, I would like to see the element of equipment return to Halo. I honestly, back in Halo 3, I love the idea of equipment because it's not like Spartan abilities where you have it as a back pocket item and you can use it whenever the hell you want, and then you just have to wait a small recharge time. It's something that you had to figure out how to utilize properly, because you had to pick it up on the map just like a grenade, just like a power weapon, and it had a limited time use just like every other equipment. It was limited and it can be destroyed. So basically, let's say I throw down a power drain, I'm getting damaged, I throw a grenade, blow up the power drain, and take cover. They didn't get the full effect of that power drain. Yes, they damaged me, but I took it out before it could affect anyone else besides myself. And maybe I do take a sacrifice, maybe I do lose that, but he's got to wait for that equipment to respawn before he can even think about using it against any of my other teammates. Also, trip mines. Trip mines were an interesting, unique item. Yes, half of the time they did not blow up what you want them to blow up. I remember I was playing campaign trying to get the, I don't think it was used car salesman. I'm trying to remember what, I think it was, we're in for some chop where you have to destroy a brute chopper with a trip mine. And the thing is it's not an instant, you throw it down and it instantly blows it up. You actually have to put some damage into that vehicle before you can blow it up with the trip mine. And the thing is that in multiplayer, I don't think it was even that instant either. I think that, yes, you had a better chance of actually killing the Spartan in the vehicle, and that would be good, but it was kind of underwhelming because of balancing reasons. But you had a number of different things. You had the regen, which you could counter. You had the bubble shield, which you could counter. It was very well balanced, and it was on the map. It wasn't like someone had the advantage of getting it right at spawn. You had to fight for the equipment. You had to plan out, hey, I spawned on the pit and the regenerator's up at my sniper tower. Well, if I rush there, I can get it first, but there's always the chance that the guy at the other sniper tower could grab the sniper rifle first, jump up, shoot me, and then throw down his regenerator so my teammates can't take him out unless they get up close. It honestly was a very well-balanced piece of equipment, no pun intended, and honestly, I would like to see it return in Halo Infinite. His second question is, do you think that 343 could actually turn Halo around if Halo Infinite is a classic Halo game? That's all my questions. Well, you know what? I would love for it to get turned around. I would love for it to be improved and things to get better in the Halo franchise, but even if Halo Infinite is a success, if it focuses on classic Halo and so on and so forth, I think it's too far gone. I think it's a little too late for the classic community. A majority of them are going to stick with the MCC, even though after the patch there's still a ton of problems. One thing that I got recently was I really don't think we're on dedicated servers, because I was playing a game and I got a 5-minute black screen. I thought if we were on dedicated servers, we weren't supposed to get black screens, so maybe explain that to me. And I tried tweeting at every staff member I could think of 343 Industries with absolutely no answer, which is absolutely frustrating. But honestly, do I think that they could possibly turn around if it was a classic style Halo game? No, because I think people do think of the name 343 Industries and think of failure. I think they think of Halo 4, which honestly wasn't as bad as we remember it, but at the same time, the multiplayer was a big departure, focusing more on basically the Call of Duty style. You know, we had infinite sprint, we had a number of things, including the fact that you had almost like perk-like abilities in the game. A lot of people didn't like that. A lot of people liked the story, even though it was kind of dull, and honestly the art style was not the best in the world. And a lot of people didn't like, you know, how they treated the whole story, and the characters were weak, and, you know, Lasky wasn't that great, and Palmer, oh god, what an abortion she was. But honestly, it wasn't as bad as we remember. And then we move on to Halo the Master Chief Collection, the 4-year too late failure that basically it just flopped. It was everyone's wet dream to have a collection of fully remastered 1080p games, and it flopped because they were not prepared. They rushed it out, and honestly, I don't blame it so much on 343 as I blame it on Microsoft. Now, it could be 343's fault. We don't know who gave the date of November 11th. I believe that was the date when they released Halo the Master Chief Collection. But in all honesty, yeah, I really don't know what to say. It's just frustrating because we waited 4 years for it to be fixed. They're now in the process of putting out the patches to fix it. And even now, they said, oh, we're fully on dedicated servers, and there are quotes of, you know, 343 members saying that we're on dedicated servers, yet we're getting 5-minute black screens. Really, we're on dedicated servers, and we're getting 5-minute long black screens when someone drops out of the game. That shouldn't be happening. So please explain that to us, 343. Our next question comes from JasonX17112, and his question is, 1. What are your thoughts on Doom Eternal? Well, in all honesty, I was super excited whenever we saw that we were getting a sequel to 2016's Doom. I really do enjoy the Doom series, and when it came to Doom 2016, I was extremely happy for the single player. The single player was absolutely great. The multiplayer was very lackluster, and it was forced modernized, as a lot of people thought whenever it came to the game, and it was a lot slower of a pace, not so much of an arena shooter as it was trying to be a modern day FPS title. Now, whenever it came to Doom Eternal, let's talk about that, because recently at QuakeCon, we saw the first gameplay of Doom Eternal. And the first thing we see out of these guys is the armor of the Doomslayer. Now, the thing for me is, I'm looking at it, and I'm going to say there's things I like about it and things I dislike about it. 1, the things I dislike. Why are we trying to make the Doomslayer the goddamn Predator? I'm just asking that. Why is it that we're trying to make him look like the goddamn Predator? You know, you got the rocket launcher flamethrower thing on one side. You got on his arm a blade that's similar to what the Predator has. Why? Why do we need to gimmick up, you know, a character that's such a badass that he doesn't need any gimmicks? You know, let him do with the merits he has as a badass super soldier from hell. You know, have him use those merits. He doesn't need a bunch of gimmicks. He doesn't need a flamethrower rocket launcher. And make these individual weapons that you can pick up in the story mode. Don't make it something that, you know, just attaches to his armor and that he has. It honestly gimmicks up something. And honestly, Bethesda, you can be a lot more creative than that. You don't need to rip off the Predator. I mean, seriously, that's exactly what I said whenever I first saw the images of this. Why are we ripping off the goddamn Predator? That's what I said about that. But when it came to the actual movement and everything, I was looking at the game, and originally I was a little bit because honestly, I don't think we need to go super crazy with the movement. That's just my opinion. And the fact that, you know, we've got the grappling hook gimmick, we've got the strafing gimmick. I really think that Doom doesn't need these things to, you know, make it fun and different. I don't think it needs a bunch of, you know, movement options. I think it just needs to be a badass killing game. Now, I think it's cool that he can jump and swing off of poles and, you know, flip between poles to get to other areas. But with, you know, his double jump and everything, does he need the, you know, grappling hook shotgun thing. Now, I think it's cool that you can grapple onto an enemy and drop kick him. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I guess I can give that a pass. Now, the strafing mechanic feels a little like, I think it's a little unnecessary. Now, overall, did I like the trailer? Yeah. Did I like the funny anti-SJW joke in it? Yeah, because honestly, it pissed off a lot of the SJWs. And then did I like the scene where the dude grabs the key card, drags him over to the thing, and opens the door? Yeah, because he probably made that guy piss his pants. So, honestly, yeah, I'm looking forward to Doom Eternal, but I'm going to be keeping my eyes on it very carefully. And his second question is, what elements make the perfect video game for you? And honestly, I'm going to make this answer short and sweet because there really is no such thing as a perfect video game. There isn't. Nothing is ever perfect. You could have the top made developers work all on a game, but they're always going to have a disagreement on what is needed and what is not needed because everyone has their own definition of perfect. And to me, I don't see any of my favorite video games as perfect. Undertale, it's a great game, has an amazing story, has a story that made me cry, but it's not perfect. Mortal Kombat 9, it was a great retelling of the Mortal Kombat series and a great, you know, change to the franchise, adding major story details throughout the game, but it's not perfect. There is no such thing as a perfect video game. You know, Doom 2016. You know, it's a great game, but like we said, multiplayer was very modernized and a lot of people felt like it wasn't traditional Doom multiplayer. So that kind of knocked away the whole perfect mentality. There is no such thing as perfect. If you're, you know, saying what is, you know, my definition of what should be in a game, a lot of people have different opinions on that, but for me, usually it's got to be worth that $60 price tag. So I'm talking a good length campaign. I'm talking about a fun and competitive multiplayer and maybe some sort of gimmick mode that, you know, can keep you entertained whenever you just want to have some casual fun. But honestly, half the time you can delete that. Also, two things that can help is amazing graphical settings. If you have a easy to use UI to adjust your graphics and make your experience better, then guess what? That's a, you know, that's a thumbs up. That's a, you know, positive thing. And if you, you know, get away from the agenda pushing and, you know, don't add any microtransactions, then guess what? That's a major, you know, positive on that list. But to me, those are just some of the things that I see in games, and as long as the game gives me my $60 value, then guess what? I'm happy. You know, look at PUBG. PUBG is a $40 game or whatever, and I got my money's worth out of that game. Now, am I happy with its current state? How the performance at times whenever I'm streaming or recording dips into like below 60 FPS in certain areas, and that it's still not super optimized and so on and so forth? No, I'm not happy about that, but I got my money's worth because I played it for so long and I had so many great times playing it that in all honesty, I feel like I got my money's worth. The reason why I stopped playing it is because I got bored of the game. I don't like Fortnite, so I'm not going to play that shit. And the other honest truth is that Brendan Green is an asshole who will basically throw away his entire true audience to appeal to his corporate masters and basically call everyone who is a fan of his game, who just wanted different servers and players from those regions to play in those servers, he'll call anyone who complains about it a fucking xenophobe, which basically means racist. So honestly, that's why I moved away from PUBG. But do I feel like I got my money's worth out of that game? Yes. Yes, I did. Our next question is going to come from Jacob Munez, or Munez. I don't quite know how exactly to pronounce it, but Jacob asks, 1. Did you know that they are going to be making another Devil May Cry 5? Well, in all honesty, I didn't really consider DMC Devil May Cry 5. I considered that game kind of a fangirl's fanfiction, as my ex would say, because honestly, that's what it was. It wasn't a bad game, but honestly, it wasn't a very fun Devil May Cry game. Now, we've had Devil May Cry's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we had Devil May Cry DMC. Honestly, wasn't a fan of DMC. I like Devil May Cry's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Great games, fun games. But the thing is that 5 just felt like we're pushing this whole emo character. It was a cool art style, it was a cool change, but it just didn't work. It didn't work for the true Devil May Cry fans. It did work for the Dante fangirls who I guess watched Twilight, because honestly Dante in that game looks like fucking, what was the character's name? Jacob? Oh, that no reference to our questioner here, but he looks like Jacob from Twilight. Dante looks like Jacob from Twilight. I'm sorry, because I just literally realized maybe he thinks I'll be referencing himself. So Jacob, if you look like Dante from Devil May Cry, 5, then you got the looks. You can get any lady you want. Good on you, my friend. But then your second question is, are you hyped for the new Dragon Ball Z movie this 2019 January? You probably mean January 2019. Well, in all honesty, I'm kind of trying to practice what I preach. And I'm trying to keep hype mentality out of my excitement. Now, I am super behind on Dragon Ball. And the reason why I say this, I've watched all of Dragon Ball Z. I've watched all 9 seasons. I've watched, Resurrection F. I've watched, Battle of the Gods, vice versa. Of course, Battle of the Gods coming first and then Resurrection F. But the thing for me is I'm trying to practice what I preach, and I'm not trying to get myself hyped. But I'm so far behind, I haven't watched any of Dragon Ball Super. Mainly because I just waited for the Blu-rays to come out. Because, honestly, I don't watch TV. And I don't go on Crunchyroll. I don't like, I like actually hearing the English dub. I don't really prefer Japanese voice actors. I know a lot of, purists, like my friend Matt, are like, dude, Japanese voice actors are 20 times better. And, that is very subjective. That is very subjective. I come from the English tongue. I'm going to prefer hearing my own tongue. Yes, the voice actors can be cheesy at times, but that's what I grew up with. That's just the honest truth. I'm not saying that the voice actor's bad, but I just prefer to wait until I get my English dub version. You know what I mean? I'm going to start watching Dragon Ball Super and catching up on it. I know that the first few seasons are just reimaginings of both, Resurrection F and Battle of the Gods, but I still want to, catch up to the point that we get to the next movie. And yeah, I'm going to go see the movie. I'm going to go see it with my friend Matt and probably his family, because they are a bunch of nerds just like we are. And honestly, I think it'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, I think it's going to be probably a pretty good movie, and hopefully it doesn't disappoint, because Resurrection F, I didn't think it was a bad movie, but I kind of felt like, nah. It was just kind of like, it was good. It was good. It wasn't terrible. I didn't think it was, bad or anything, but I think they could have done a lot more with Frieza in that movie to really, make us enjoy it a lot more, because this is a character that we've wanted to see a return of for many years. Hopefully, Broly is going to be really cool, because now this is officially canon Broly. For those of you who do not know, when Broly was originally introduced, that was not canon, supposedly. I'm not, one of these people that, follows what's canon, what's not canon whenever it comes to Dragon Ball Z, but supposedly the Broly movie originally wasn't canon. So, in all honesty, the fact that this is actually going to be canon, I think is going to be interesting, because it'll be a whole new reimagining on the character of Broly coming from the original creator. So we're just gonna have to wait and see, but thank you very much, Jacob, for the questions. Our next question comes from my dedicated mod over on twitch.tv and my clip master, the guy who gets all those funny clips for you guys on the Discord server, Frantic Ficus. And he asks, since you usually go to that one convention in Washington, sorry I didn't remember the name of it, are there any other conventions within the country that you would ever want to go to? Well, you know what? That's a very good question, but let me first clarify something. Now, the convention I go to is called Portland Retro Gaming Expo. No, it does not take place in Washington State. It actually takes place right across the bridge over in Oregon. And unfortunately, I'm probably going to miss it this year. I really don't have time off. I can't schedule any time off. It's almost impossible for me. I also just got this apartment. I can't be going and spending a ton of money on random stuff. I can't be going and spending my money on stuff that I don't need right now. I would love to go. I know that a lot of my favorite YouTubers of classic retro games are going to be there, but unfortunately I might have to miss it this year. Usually I go to that, and I usually go to Wizard World Comic Con, but unfortunately right now I can't afford it, and I don't have the time off. I would love to go, and honestly, if there were people that lived in Portland that would want to meet me, viewers of mine, haters of mine, I would love to meet you too. Even if you want to come up to me and say, hey, you're an asshole, go fuck yourself, GamerJlee, I would say, hey man, at least I know I've got some sort of popularity. But thank you very much for the question, Ficus. In all honesty, is there any conventions I would love to go to? Yeah, I would love to go to PAX. That's one that I've been dying to go to. PAX West. I would love to go there and at least experience it. The problem is that convention sells out every single time within like 5 minutes, and I never get the chance to get a damn ticket. That's one thing I would love to go to. I would also love to go to an official Comic-Con, like the big San Diego or New York Comic-Con. That would be an awesome experience to have under my belt. You know, to me, that would be really cool. But I'm honestly happy with the conventions I've got in Portland. I love Retro Gaming Expo. It's one of my favorite things. It's one of the first major cons I went to. And then you have Wizard World Comic Con, which has had a lot of awesome celebrities. I met Daniel Bryan there. I actually have a personalized photo of me and him together, which I'm right now trying to find through all my moving stuff, so I can put it up on the wall, you know, to share with you guys whenever I do the game room tour, which is coming at some point soon. But thank you very much, Ficus, for the question. Our next question comes from Delta Wolf 1000. I swear your name was just Delta Wolf before, but I guess you're now over 1000. I'm sorry, it's not 9,000. I can't get hyped over it. And his question is, can I have your credit card details, please? Winky face emoji. Yeah, let me just... Where's my wallet? Oh, there it is. Hold on. Let's see here. Let me pull this out. So, okay, the number is 89734. What the fuck, dude? No, you can't have my credit card details. Fuck you. I mean, goddamn, Delta Wolf. Let's move on to the Discord questions. And our first question comes from Josuke. And he asks, what is the future for the channel? Well, in all honesty, I'm not sure. You know, I think that I finally have found what I want to do, and that's commentary. And I think that, you know, doing some of these videos that I've recently done, you know, the Gears of War 5 video has blown up over 20,000 views. It's doing absolutely amazing because, you know, you guys supported it. And I think that whenever I really take the motto of quality over quantity, and I really focus on my craft of making a good video and something that honestly people want to talk about, like what I'm about to do a video on about hype mentality, I think that it does a lot better because I'm passionate about it. You know, I used to just push out videos as fast as I could because I wanted to, you know, try and give you guys content as quickly as I can. But if I slow down, focus on my work, and make a good video, then guess what? It's gonna do just like that. And honestly, we've had a major growth in subscribers. I'm nearly near 4,000 subscribers. You know, that's literally 1,000 subscribers within, I believe, I think we hit 3,000 in March or something like that. So March, April, May, June, July, August, September. So maybe by the end of the month we might hit, you know, it's just crazy. It's crazy to me. You know, we might hit 4,000 subscribers, and honestly, this is the fastest my channel has ever progressed. And I've had people say, oh, your channel's dead. Oh, you're not doing Halo anymore. Your channel's dead. No, I'm not saying I'm not doing Halo anymore, but I'm just being a lot more critical, and I'm not just putting out random bullshit, you know? I'm being critical of things that are going on, and honestly, I think the future of my channel is going to be a lot more discussion based, and honestly, I'm not going to censor myself. I'm not going to hold back. You know, the thing is, I didn't censor myself before with my opinions on things, but I did censor myself when it came to touchy subjects, things that, you know, people got easily offended by and would easily hit the dislike button over. Like, for example, politics and things like that. Like, whenever I was talking about the Battlefield 5 situation, I knew that I agreed with what the majority of people were saying about Battlefield 5. I agreed with it. And the thing is that I could have been a fence rider. I could have just sat in the middle and said, well, you know, I understand this, I understand that, but I want to know what you guys think. You know, pull that card, Boogie, or DeFranco, which he sometimes pulls, unless it's like a, you know, easily able to tell what side you should be on. But in all honesty, I felt good being honest with my opinion of Battlefield 5. Yes, is it the most popular opinion? No, but is it the opinion that is, you know, honestly how I feel? Yeah, it is. And a lot of people said, oh, you gotta be kidding me, you're a sexist alpha right, you know, alt-right alpha red pill cocksucker. And I'm like, no, I'm just a libertarian who just agrees with the majority of people who want a accurate World War II shooter and don't want an agenda pushed down our throats. Is that too much to ask? I don't know, but more commentary videos will be coming soon. Thank you very much for your question. Our next question comes from Jake the Dog, and he asks, do you think Machinima is dead? And I don't mean the company. And if you do, when and why do you think it died? Well, you know, there's a lot of reasons for that. And honestly, this is one of the questions that I think I'm going to highlight in my title of this video, because really, Machinima is one of the things that got me onto YouTube. It was things like RB and the Chief, Red versus Blue, you know, some of the stupid Machinimas that were on Machinima, like Phil. Phil was an awesome Machinima if you've ever seen it. You know, Red versus Blue, one of the first ever Halo Machinimas. You had Deus Ex Machina from, you know, Digital Fear, also the same creator that did RB and the Chief. You know, these are things that honestly a lot of people enjoyed. But the problem is it takes time to create. Now, like, look at Red vs. Blue. It takes a whole year for them to come up with a storyline, do the machinima, do the voice acting, and that's coming from a company that basically started with this and is a professional company doing it. The average Joe doesn't really have the chance to put out machinima after machinima after machinima after machinima. Like, look at, you know, Digital Fear, aka John CJG, or whatever he's calling himself now. I do watch the newer RB and the Chief, but it takes him a while to get out an episode. And honestly, I love RB and the Chief. I don't like how serious it got. I loved it when it was, you know, slapstick, you know, dumb, realistic humor instead of this serious, you know, storyline. Like, honestly, I fell out of love with RB and the Chief whenever people were dying and people were committing suicide and people were blowing each other up. I didn't like that. You know, it's the same reason why I fell out of love with Red vs. Blue. It got too serious. You know, I liked the, you know, you're a team killing fucktard jokes and you cocksucking fucktard and all this stuff. I liked those crude humor jokes, and honestly, I think it's a number of things. I think it's the PC era that we're in, where people want to be politically correct. They can't say things like, look at Eminem. He got a bunch of flack for saying, you know, a derogatory term about homosexuals that he's said in almost a majority of his albums. You know, he's said it for years, and now, because we're in this PC era of 2018, he can't say it, and he's gonna get shit for it. But that's the thing. You have to always be careful what you say nowadays, and I think it had to do with a lot of things. One, it takes too much time to make a new machinima. It takes too much time to make a new episode. It takes too much time to edit. It takes too much time to voice act, and I think it also has to do with that people can't do as crude and as dark humor as they want to. You know, back then you could get away with anything. I remember, and I've gone back and watched some of these machinimas. You know, I've went back and watched Phil, you know, one of the ones I actually really like, and, you know, one of the first lines in the thing is, what do you think you're doing, faggot? And I cringed a little. I was like, really? We were just throwing that out there in 2018? Really? We were just throwing that out there. Oh, okay. Like, you know, we were throwing that out back in 2007, 2008, 2009, until like 2011, 2012, when everything started to go downhill and PC culture kind of took over. You know what I mean? And yes, it was cringy. Yes, it was crude. But guess what? That's what Machinima was. And the fact is that I also think that the company has something to do with it. I think that the company Machinima has something to do with the death of Machinima. Because what did we see on their channel whenever we first subscribed to them back in 2007, 2008, 2009? We saw machinimas. We saw forms of art using game engines. Now what do we see? Oh, trailers for video games, Call of Duty quick scoping guides, all sorts of crap that we didn't subscribe for. And they've gone through multiple ownerships. They've gone through partners leaving, partners getting backstabbed by their, MCNs. And honestly, a lot of creators, including John CJG, who had to fight for the ownership of his own creation, left. And it did put a bad reputation on RB and the Chief, because they had that one season that wasn't ran by John. It was ran by someone else, I believe. So do I think Machinima is dead? Yes, but at the same time, I think that there could be still some life in it if people are willing to take that time and make a good quality product. But thank you very much, Jake the Dog, for your question. Our next question comes from Viking Boar, and he asks, would you be interested in a fails of the week kind of thing for Halo Infinite, like Machinima or whoever did the Halo Reach and surely other Halo games? I miss those days. Well, in all honesty, I believe it was Rooster Teeth that did the fails of the week. I remember it was Jeff Ramsey and Jack from Achievement Hunter that I think were in charge of that, if I'm correct. And, the thing is that we've got to kind of wait. We kind of have to wait and see what happens with Halo Infinite, because we know nothing about the game. We know nothing. We haven't seen any gameplay. We don't know what they're focusing on. They could be focusing on totally casualizing the game. They could be focusing on totally esportsing the game. But that's the thing. They can't do one or the other. It has to be a combination. It has to be a combination of having fun and a combination of competitiveness, because that is the best blend for Halo. And in all honesty, would I like to see that? Yes, I love community creations. I love those funny clips. I remember when I first saw the clip that got the first ever armor of recon from Halo, was when the guy got hit by the traffic cone. It was like a fail clip where the dude shot the fusion coil, the cone went flying and killed him with his own cone. And it was hilarious. And the dude got the first ever, armor of recon. He got the first ever recon armor. And honestly, do I miss those days? Yeah, man. Content creation across the board for games. Community-based content creation is, very important. And, there are people's channels that were really focused on this. One of my good friends, Duquesne, was a major content creator for Forge Maps. And he still does them, but he doesn't do it like he used to. He doesn't do it all the time on his channel. Like, he's tried different things because he got screwed by his MCN. He got screwed by YouTube, and his channel got, ruined. He's put all this progress, he's worked this hard for his channel, and then YouTube and his MCN fucked it all up, and I really do feel sorry for him, because honestly, I love his content. I think he's a good dude. He's a great father to his to his kids. He's a excellent parent. I follow the dude on Twitter. I talk to him, and you can just see this guy's got a good heart. Duquesne's got a good heart, and he's an excellent content creator. And honestly, we're just gonna have to wait and see when it comes to Halo Infinite. We won't know until we know. And honestly, yeah, I would like to see those kind of clips come back in the future from the community. Our next question comes from longtime viewer Vinyl. And his question is, ever played the Persona series? And if so, what are your thoughts on it? Well, this is gonna be a very controversial answer, because I've never played Persona, and nor have I really had the interest in it. I'm not much of an RPG guy. A lot of people know this about me. I'm not much into RPGs. If you guys have ever seen my channel, I'm an FPS guy. I'm a platformer guy. I'm a simulator guy. I'm just not a classical RPG guy. I'm not. I'm not saying anything's wrong with RPGs and games like that. A lot of my friends enjoy those. My ex enjoys RPGs. My good friend Matt enjoys RPGs. I don't. I'm not much of an RPG guy myself. Do I think that there's anything wrong with them? No. Of course not. I think that the Persona games are extremely popular, and for very good reason. They're good games. They have a story that people care about and people want to, get more and more into. That's why whenever Fangamer started carrying Persona items, my ex freaked out and wanted to go buy them all. I said, hey, you got to have some money for other things. Don't blow it all on Persona merch. And, you know, they didn't at all. So, yay, I actually saved someone from throwing all their money away. And I'm not saying that's bad for them to buy merch, but come on, life comes first, guys. But yeah, no, I think that they're good games, but I've just never had the chance to play them. And, no, honestly, I really have no interest. I'm sorry. You know, I have played a game from Atlas. I believe that's the company that does make Persona. I've played Catherine. Catherine's a game that's a platformer mixed with RPG-like mechanics when it comes to the bar. And I am looking forward to the remaster, but, like, I don't know if it was really necessary to add a third girl. And there's rumors going around that the girl is a trap. You know, I liked the Catherine thing, but, why do we need the trap card? You know, like, you know, I've got no problem with it, but was it really necessary to throw in that this character might be a trap? You know, is it necessary? I really don't want to, like, be sitting there playing Catherine, and all of a sudden I run in and it's like Yu-Gi-Oh! He's like, I play my trap card, and then this little, I think she's blue haired or whatever, you know, is standing there. I'm like, ah, fuck. So, you know, I don't know if I want to, you know, deal with that as much. I would kind of prefer if we just got the Xbox One version of the game, or, you know, whatnot, because I love the original Catherine. I thought it was an excellent game, and I played that game multiple times. I know a few people of my, you know, of my group that I hang out with that love that game, and then I know a few people in my group that hated that game and got so annoyed with the platforming mechanics that they rage quit. But me personally, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great game. Can't wait for the remaster. I just don't want Yu-Gi-Oh! To come in with his trap card. So anyways, on to the next question. Our next question comes from I Is a Real Gender, and he asks, are you ever gonna do another Road to Haunted stream? I'm sorry, every time I see that name, I've gotta, you know, chuckle a little bit. That oh, that name always makes me laugh and kind of puts a smile on my face. But yes, am I ever going to do another Road to Haunted stream? Well, in all honesty, I wanted to. I wanted to do more Road to Haunted. I wanted to do more content on that. The problem is that it seems like I would have no one to play with that's in my circle. You know, like, basically, when I do content creation, I usually like to have one of my, you know, co-hosts or my friends that, you know, they know how I like to do things, and I don't really like to be alone as much whenever it comes to doing videos and doing streams. Well, videos I can do on my own, but streams I like to have a group. I like to have a group of friends with me because I don't feel like just being alone unless really no one wants to play. And that was the thing, is that we played a couple games and then it seemed like Elvar kind of fell off, and it was probably due to a number of things. One, Halo Reach hasn't held up that well. You know, it really hasn't, you know. It feels like sub 30 FPS, and, you know, that's sad to say. It does. It feels like sub 30 FPS. The other issue with the game is the connections. It lags all over the place. It rarely, you know, runs at times. I've had issues where I was having a great match, and then all of a sudden everyone drops dead, disconnects, and we get booted back to the lobby. It really has not held up. And yes, it's still a classic Halo game that a lot of people love. I love it for the most part, but at the same time, it sucks to play 30 FPS. I'm sorry, that's just my opinion. I'm not a big fan of 30 FPS anymore. And after you've played Halo in 60 FPS, you really can't go back unless you really want to. And honestly, I can stick with, you know, the Master Chief Collection and other games instead of having very low FPS, motion blurred Halo Reach. Even though Halo Reach isn't a bad game, I personally would rather play other games in the Halo franchise than Halo Reach. Honestly, I feel like Halo 3's FPS runs better than Halo Reach's at times, you know, and the backwards compatibility, you know, standard, because I've tried playing both. Halo 3 is at least playable, Reach at times is such a motion blurry, low FPS mess that I just don't want to play, and I go play something else. So, will I ever do another Road to 100 stream? Maybe. I think I might do more of a Road to 50 stream, now that, you know, ranked is kind of alive and well in the MCC. Before, you could never get into a ranked game besides Halo 3, and now a lot of the playlists are alive and well, and I might as well jump on it before everyone jumps off, because there are still problems with the MCC. I'm not saying it's fixed, like a lot of these people are. I'm saying that, you know, it needs a lot of work still. It's exactly what I said. It was lackluster, you know, it was a lackluster launch, and, you know, there's been other things popping up, like 5-minute long black screens like I've gotten in Halo the MCC. It's been ridiculous, but hopefully, maybe I'll do some more Halo streams, you know, maybe once a week I'll do a Halo stream that can entertain people. But thank you for the question. Is a real gender. I will take that criticism into consideration. The next question comes from a newer user on our Discord server, HexD, and he asks, how has making YouTube videos / streaming changed your life? Also, who is the biggest YouTuber you have ever had an interaction / friendship with? Well, that is a very good question, because honestly, I never thought I would have very, you know, much, you know, relationships here on YouTube. I never thought that I would have like major relationships with some of the people I look up to, you know. To answer your first part of your question, how has making YouTube videos / streaming changed your life? Honestly, it's given me a way to be creative. It's given me a way to learn how to take criticism and learn how to deal with, you know, criticism as a whole. You know, being able to tell the difference between constructive criticism and just negative trolling bullshit. And trust me, I know constructive criticism when I see it. Even if it's harsh criticism, it's still acceptable. But if it's someone saying, hey, you're a fat cunt, lose some weight, I'll, you know, reply, hey, yeah, I am a fat cunt, I will lose some weight, thanks for the criticism. You know, like, honestly, it's changed my life for the better. It's made me a lot of friends. Like, I'm pretty good friends with Tommy C from Shot From The Point. He's a excellent content creator. He's, you know, one of the people I have a lot of respect for. And, you know, there are times whenever I've doubted myself. I've doubted my, you know, whole YouTube career. And he said, dude, don't do something stupid. You got to 3,000 subscribers for a reason. And honestly, you shouldn't give up. You got to keep moving that, you know, train, because you never know what might happen. And he's given me some really excellent criticism, and we've had some good times. There's been times whenever I've been on his second channel, the Tommy C's Arcade, and, you know, me and Verst are making fun of each other. And literally there's a joke that happens on that channel where they're like, what up, Smarties? Because, like, they consider that joke of, I'm a Halo channel, you know, like, it's an ongoing joke. Like, he's one of the people I love to hang out with and chat with. Like, the other night, we were just chatting in his Discord, having a good time, and we just talked about Marvel movies and so on and so forth. And it was a good time. You know, he's one of the people I like talking to. You also got to talk about all the Halo YouTubers I hang out with, like Rony Boney, Favin. I've talked to Late Night Gaming. You know, he's given me some good criticism. You've got people like Duquesne, who I mentioned earlier in this video. You've got people like Helljumper, who's a up-and-coming YouTuber, which still hasn't made a fucking video. You have people that I've interacted with, like The Quartering, Jeremy. You've got people that, you know, I think the biggest person I've ever interacted with was probably Sky Williams, and it was kind of me being a dick, because I gave some very rude-ish, harsh criticism about the you know, Hunt Down the Freeman. You know, I said the funniest thing in Hunt Down the Freeman was Sky Williams saying, my mama's dead! And the thing is that, honestly, that was the best part of the video, or the best part of the game, but I said, why would you tie yourself to such a shitty product? And it obviously got misconstrued, and unfortunately took it the wrong way, and then Keemstar blocked me on Twitter. That was the first time I was blocked by Keemstar. But, you know, I clarified to this guy that I didn't mean it to be rude. I was just saying you were the best part of it, and it sucks that you got tied to, you know, such a shitty product. You know, it isn't your fault. I'm just saying that your, you know, voice acting was one of the things that made me and my friends laugh and smile. You know what I mean? So honestly, I've had a lot of great friendships. I hope to have a lot more. You know, Hidden Xperia, another Halo YouTuber. Geez, I'm gonna feel so bad because I'm gonna miss some people that I've interacted with in my life. And I want you to know, if I forgot about you, I'm sorry. I love you. I'll send you a cookie as a reward for me forgetting your name. Okay? Okay. Love you guys. And thank you very much, HexD, for the question. Alrighty, everyone. We're down to the final 2 questions. And the first question comes from longtime viewer J-Dog. And he asked, which volume of RWBY is your favorite? I personally love them all, and I know after Monty passed away, a lot of people said RWBY had lost its charm. Now, that could be a possibility. A lot of people did feel like when Monty passed away that it felt forced that Rooster Teeth continued his, you know, legacy. And honestly, I wouldn't have minded if RWBY had died off because the original creator wasn't there to guide the ship. But I did continue to enjoy the series, and I do to this day. I think that honestly, his work has been in pretty good hands. Yes, there's been a few spots where it's botched, but overall, I think it has moved on pretty well. And whenever it comes to RWBY in general, honestly, I would say that Season 3 was a good one to me. And a lot of people think, oh, Season 3 was, you know, really depressing, you know, like, and that's the thing. We've had 2 seasons where it's been nothing but happiness, uplifting, and at the end of the day, the good guys win, right? 3, we saw loss. We saw mourning. We saw that these heroes were not invincible, you know, that they had flaws, and that they could suffer loss. And you know, they did have the loss of 2 characters, Penny and Pura. You know, those were 2 characters that died during that season right at the end, and it was just all at once. It hit you right in the feelings, because first you have the loss of Penny. She gets killed, you know, in an accident. And then you have Pura, who sacrifices herself trying to save Beacon, and she gets killed by Cinder. You know, it honestly really showed that these heroes can die, and that there was, you know, a lot of you know, things that these heroes still need to learn if they really wanted to protect the world. And when it came, you know, we aren't even getting into the fact that Adam cuts off Yang's arm, and Yang goes into this hatred for Blake, and it takes 2 seasons for her to even, you know, have any kind of interaction with Blake after Blake basically abandoned her after Yang sacrificed herself to save her friend. And honestly, I've seen the video about Blake being the worst character in the entire series. Nah, I can see why people feel that way, but at the same time, I'm like, I think there are like worse characters. I honestly, Weiss is an amazing character now. She's had such great development over the past couple of seasons. Ruby, still adorable, love her. And Yang, I've never been a fan of Yang. In all honesty, that's just my own personal opinion on her. But Blake, I like, but I can understand why some people have criticisms of her as a character. Like, she's just not well written, she's just not well planned out, and some of the things she does do not make sense. So in all honesty, I can understand why people have criticisms of Blake. But honestly, you know, to answer your question, season 3 was by far my favorite season. And our final question comes from Rogue49, and he asks, we know you like rap, but do you like mixed genres like rap metal, i.e. Hollywood Undead or Limp Bizkit? Well, let me just answer that very simply. Yes, I love mixed genres. I've seen very good mixed genres in the past, and honestly, I can name 2 bands that have done this, i.e. Limp Bizkit, who created The Undertaker's Keep Rollin', 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 which wasn't originally meant for The Undertaker, but it got picked up as the Undertaker's theme song during his American Badass era. And then you also have Cypress Hill, who created the theme song for another one of my favorite wrestlers, Taz, the Human Suplex Machine, with their song Just Another Victim. And honestly, I've went on to like a few of their songs, and those are kind of mixed genres of metal or rock rap kind of mix. So yeah, I think it's a cool genre. I think, you know, I've seen good examples of it, I've seen bad examples of it, and there are some, you know, some really good hits and some really big misses. So yeah, I would say I'm a fan of, i.e. Rap metal and so on and so forth. I've never listened to Hollywood Undead, and that's one that a lot of people have recommended to me, but I've just never had an interest or a reason to go and listen to their work. Maybe I'll, you know, pop them up on Spotify and take a listen. But thank you for your question. And that's going to do it for this month, guys. I know that I'm a little bit late on this video, but I got it out there, and I did it because you guys love this content, and I love giving it to you. I know everyone's going to say, it was late, this is September. But I wanted to get out to you guys, and please remember, one question per month. I'm putting that rule strictly in after this, one question, and if it has multiple questions in the comments, I'm going to only pick one, and whatever I think is the best question out of the two that you ask me, I'm just going to select it and read it. I'm sorry, but I want to make these a little bit quicker and a little bit, you know, faster to answer the questions and get you guys the answers you want, and not go so long that the video takes forever. You know what I mean? It's not because, you know, I don't want to answer your question. It's because I want everyone to have the chance to get their question read. And, you know, if it takes like 20 to 40 minutes for them to finally get to the final question, and it's at the end of the pack, it kind of sucks, you know, that it took that long and they have to sit through a 40-minute video to get their question answered. But guys, thank you for watching. If you guys would like to ask your own questions, go ahead, comment section down below, go ahead and ask your questions, and I will feel free to answer them at the end of the month when we do this September Q&A. Another way you can ask them is through my Discord. Yes, I have a Discord, link down in the description, and there is a channel called the Q&A, or the question and answer channel, where you can ask your Q&A questions. So go ahead, head down there, head to the YouTube comments, and ask your questions. But as always, guys, GamerJlee signing out.